Let's join together. Page 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome to Pasadena Jewish Temple and Center. I hope you had a good Hanukkah. Hanukkah is now over, but we're already in another holiday, and that's Shabbat. It's a holiday that we have every week. And we recognize you have many choices for where to daven Shabbos on Zoom these days, but we're really glad you're doing it with us. We are also celebrating something else, and that is one of our young people being recognized as Bar Mitzvah, the age of legal majority in Jewish law, and that's my good friend Chase Gaither. Mazel tov to the Gaither family, and we're really excited that you've chosen to celebrate with us. So if you're coming here to celebrate with Chase, if you're coming here for Shabbat, wherever you're coming from and whatever your reason for being here, we think you're in the right place, and we're glad you've joined us this evening. So in just a second, we're going to kick off services with a blessing for the Shabbat candles, because it's already dark outside. The candles have already been lit, but we'll take it over to the chapel for the blessing for the candles.
Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lecha l'kner Shabbat.
Amen. Yesh Koach. In just a moment, we're going to continue with our Kabbalat Shabbat service. This part of the service was added on just a scant few hundred years ago. Some of the sages of Sfat decided on Shabbat, we can't just go into the evening prayers. We've had this whole yucky work week. Who knows what was going on that week? Who knows what kind of week you've had? But they've decided, like, we can't just go from the work week into the holiness of Shabbat. We need to ascend. We need to climb this ladder before we get to the Baruch Hu and things like that. So they instituted Kabbalat Shabbat, or welcoming, accepting, receiving Shabbat, with a series of prayers, with psalms, poems, even some songs that they wrote themselves. And so we're going to start that on page 15. We're in this Siddur, this Sim Shalom. If you don't have this, but you're on Zoom, you can download it from the chat. For anybody who has this either in PDF or paper form, we're going to be on page 15 with Lechuna Ranana. Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai. Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Lechuna Ranana, Ladonai. Nadia, Nadia, Letzor Yishenu, Nekadma Fana Betoda. Nadia, Nadia, Letzor Yishenu, Vizmiro Nadia Lo. Lechune Ranena, Lechune Ranena, Lechune Ranena, Ladonai. Lechune Ranena, Lechune Ranena, Lechune Ranena, Ladonai. כי אל גדול אדוני הוא מלך, גדול על כל אלוהים שלו. כמעט המסון שבין 40 שנה אקוד לדור ואומר עם טועי לבבם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי והפי אם יבואון אל מנוחתי. Page 16. יא יא ליי 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 היי ליי 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 היי ליי 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 היי ליי 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 La 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 lo ya 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 ay 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 la la shiru la donai שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום, ישועתו יספרו בגויים כבודו, וכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני, On page 21, we have a song that we sing every week called Lecha Dodi, which means "Come, my beloved." It sounds like a love song. It's actually these sages of Sfat speaking to Shabbat, welcoming Shabbat in as an honored guest or an intimate friend. Talks about Shabbat as a queen or a bride, the way you may welcome somebody into the room where everybody stands up and is excited to be there. And throughout this song, we'll sing some verses, and then at the end, there's a place where we rise to kind of embody the welcoming of Shabbat. We start seated on page 21, page 21.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 pray Shabbat, nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 pray Shabbat. נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד השמיענו אל המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי היא מקור הברכה וראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה אוי לך דודי לקראת קלה ירלי 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ירלי 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 בני שבת נקבלה מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה רב לך שבת ועמק הבכה והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה התנערי מעפר קומי לבשי בגדי תפארת חמי על יד בן ישי בית הלחמי קורבה אל נפשי גאלה אוי לך דודי לקראת קלה ירלי 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 פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ירלי 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 פני שבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה אוי לך דודי לקראת קלה ירלי 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה ירלי 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 בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקלבי ומה תשתוכחי ומה תמי בך יחסו אני הימי בנבנתה הירלתי לה והיו לי שיסה שעשייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתן אלכה together מחדוני לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש מן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה להולך אדוני לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבל עליך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבל
We rise.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבל עליך דודי לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבל
If you're standing, you may be seated. We're going to continue with our next psalm, which is a special psalm just for Shabbat. Psalm 92 can be found on page 23, Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbat.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך לאמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון וכינור מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון כי שימחתני אדוני בפועלך במעשה ידך ארנן מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך מה גדלו מעשיך אדוני מעולם קומה שמותיך יאי לי 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 ירלי ירלי יאי לי לי ירלי יאי לי 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 ירלי ירלי יאי לי ירלי מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך עליון ולזמר לשמך
I'll invite you to stay on page 23, and I'd like to call upon Brett, who is Chase's cousin, and Brett's fiance, Shelby, who are going to read for us this Psalm for Shabbat, which is on page 23. Let's see. Hold on. I'll see if I can help you unmute. They did not do bar mitzvahs this way in Svat.
Hello. A song for Shabbat. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God, to affirm your love each morning and your faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp. Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. How vast your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasps. The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this. The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass, but their doom is sealed, for you are supreme. The enemies shall perish, all the wicked shall crumble. But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God. They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant. To proclaim Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw.
Amen. And Yasher Koach. In just a moment, we're going to continue with our prayer service for the evening. We've been with these songs and psalms to elevate us from the work of the week into the rest of Shabbat. And just want to take a moment to share a couple of words of Torah that I got to study with Chase. Now, normally this is where I make my traditional joke, which is I ask the bar mitzvah, are you going to give the sermon tonight or am I? And it's hilarious to everybody else. The bar mitzvah usually doesn't find it that funny because they thought they're giving the sermon tomorrow. But I feel if you make a joke often enough, it becomes technically a ritual, and I'm really into those. But I thought for Chase, for a belated Hanukkah present, I wasn't going to make that joke tonight, and you're welcome. I do want to talk just a little bit about this Torah portion, because in studying with Chase, I noticed something that I'm really excited about. And that is that this particular Parsha Miketz, happens every single year. But what happens in most years is that we don't get to do the regular Haftarah for Miketz, because Miketz often falls on Hanukkah, and we read a different Haftarah for Hanukkah, and we don't get to this fantastic Haftarah for Miketz, which is from a famous story. That's the loss. It's a famous story that many people have heard, or have at least heard an expression that comes out of this story. But before I tell you that story, I want to tell you a quick story about when I was first starting out to be a rabbi. I was a brand new rabbi, a baby rabbi, as the sister president called me. And I had an important decision to make. I was at a temple that was having a little trouble with attendance at Friday night services. So I thought, I'm going to do the wise thing, like King Solomon, and I'm going to listen to everyone and then make a decision. And so I asked the longtime leaders, let's say, of the synagogue, the people who'd been there for, probably since before I was born, much less a rabbi. And I said, what time is the best time for Friday night services? And they said, Rabbi, well, for years and years and years, we'd always had Shabbat services at 7:30, because that way we could eat dinner and comfortably get to the synagogue after we eat dinner, and then we'd have a wonderful time together, and that would give us time to digest, and then we have cookies afterwards. 7:30 is the right time. The synagogue was also blessed to be growing in its membership of young families, people who were coming into the preschool and had little kids, and they were starting to develop as leaders in the community. They were taking on positions in the board, so of course I had to listen to them. And I said, what time is the best time to have Shabbat evening services? And they said, Rabbi, the only time that we could possibly come to Shabbat evening services is at 5:30, because we have little kids and they have bedtimes. And so the only way we can come to services is if it's at 5:30, so that we can, get the kids from the preschool, get them from the nearby elementary school, wipe the schmutz off their face. We get there, we do services, and then we could go home and have a nice dinner, and everybody gets to bed on time. And that makes our life easier as parents. So I said, which is a very rabbinic thing to say. I said, So I thought about it, and I said, I've come up with a solution. From now on, all Friday night services are going to be at 6:30, right? If one group wants them at 7:30 and one group wants them at 5:30, of course, the best thing for everyone is at 6:30. And the following Shabbat, about 20 minutes into singing by myself and deciding whether I should just give up and lock the door and go home, I realized that sometimes compromise means that no one is happy. And this was a very powerful lesson. I didn't invent this idea, but it took me a while to learn it. I could have instead have been present for reading the Haftarah Miketz on the rare occasion that it's read instead of the Haftarah for Hanukkah. The Haftarah for Miketz that we often miss is the story of Shlomo Melech, King Solomon, and his ascendancy to be the wisest king ever known. He asks, he's talking to God. God says, okay, you're going to be king. What can I give you to help you ease this transition? And Solomon says, well, all I can ask for to be a good king, I think, is wisdom. And God said, you have chosen wisely. You could have asked for strength in armies. You could have asked for great riches. That's what most other kings ask for. But because you asked for wisdom, I will give you wisdom, and I will give you riches, and I will give you strength. Now, get to work and show everyone how wise you are. And the first case he is called on to judge is between two poor women who they're widows with children, and one of them is not only bereft of her husband but bereft of her child, and all they could scrape together is this modest lodging together. So we have two women with babies, and one of them got it's terrible. Her baby dies, and she is so warped with grief that she begins calling the other woman's baby her own child. And in fact, she tries to convince everyone else that this is indeed her child. It wasn't her child that had passed. It was the other woman's child. And she felt very sorry for her, but this was clearly my baby. And the woman whose child it actually was, of course, was very protective and couldn't let this happen. And so a great row ensued. They took this before the king. And the king, Solomon, said, well, I think we have a simple solution to this. We will simply divide the baby in two. That seems to be the most fair distribution of the baby, don't you think? And one woman said, Yes, that sounds fair. Again, she was insane with grief. She felt that the world wasn't fair. All she wanted was for the world to be fair again. And if the king says half a baby is fair, well, he's the king. And the other woman said, I tell you what, I'm wrong. This is her child. She should take it home, and I will find my own way in the world. To which Solomon replies, aha, now we know whose baby it is. Because only the woman who would give up her right to the child so that it could live could be the child's true mother. This is where we get the expression, oft used despite the horror of its context, split the baby as a term for compromise, usually to describe a compromise where everyone comes out a loser, even if it seems like the fair way to go. And I want to reiterate this because this is another story that we have, not only of how compromise can just leave us all losers, but the proper relationship between rights and responsibilities. See, once again, one woman had the right to have a baby, but her responsibility dictated that exercising that right would be murder. So she chose instead to give up her child so that it may live. See, the trick is you can give up your life for the rights of another. In fact, most of the rights we have, it's because somebody did that for us. You can give up your life for another's rights, but you cannot ask someone to give up their life for your rights. There are many times when we fight for rights and we fight for life at the same time, but there are times when those things seem to come into conflict. And I can't give you the answer for every case, but I can side with Shlomo Melech, with King Solomon, who teaches us that when our rights conflict with our responsibilities and we're having trouble choosing, just go a little bit later in the Torah to Deuteronomy, where it says, you have the choice in front of you. Always choose life. And when life is on the line, never, ever compromise. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you once again for joining us here at PJTC. We are going to continue the service with the Baruch, which is on a page, I promise you, and I believe that page is page 28. Page 28. This is a part of the service where we rise.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai.
Umavir Yom Umevi Lila. Umavdil Ben Yom Uvin Lila. Adonai Savaot Shemo. El Hai V'Kayam Tamidim L'Chaleinu Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai.
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
Amari Varavim.
Amen. If you're standing, you may be seated. We continue on page 29, with Ahavat Olam.
Let's join together.
Ahavat Olam.
Beit Yisrael. Amcha Avta. Amcha Avta. ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נהגה יומם ולילה, נהגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen.
Okay. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Continue at your own pace in the middle of page 30, and we'll get back together in just a moment. We continue with Chase leading us at the top of page 31. Page 31.
Okay. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית, להם לדורותם, ונתנו הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריכם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
Continue on page 32. Page 32.
אמת ואמונה כל הזאת וקיים עלינו, כי אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו. Let's continue together in the middle of page 30. Let's continue together in the middle of page 32 as we join together with Mei Chamocha. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך בוקר היום לפני משה ומרים. זה לי, זה לי, אנו אמרו. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כיפת אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
גל ישראל.
Amen. You turn to page 33. Page 33. I'd like to call on Idana and Jonathan to read Hashkivenu for us. Do we have Idana and Jonathan? Is that Eileen?
Unmute. Yes.
There we go.
Okay. Protect us with your gift of peace by helping us to overcome temptation.
When we are weak, sustain us. When we despair, open our hearts to joy.
Shelter us in your embrace of peace when we are caught by conflict or desire.
When we are torn, heal us. When we are tormented, touch us with tranquility.
Cherish our fragmented lives. Make our lives whole again through integrity.
When we deceive, turn us to you. When we corrupt, capture our hearts anew.
Protect us from ourselves. When we falter, help us to conquer the enemy within.
When we blunder, restore us. With compassion, teach us
that peace is based on your truth.
Amen. We continue with the prayer Hashkivenu on page 33. Page 33, Yeshkoach.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו ומלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, העמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור את צאתנו ואוהנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לך. שלום, 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 Shalom, 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 shalom. Baruch atah
Baruch
Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. Continue on page 34, page 34.
Let's join together.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
Shabbos.
לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
ביני ובין ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות
את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות את השבת
לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת,
לעשות את השבת
לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Middle of page 34, Chase is going to lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yud Gadol ve'Yud Kadash me Rabba.
Amen.
Ve'alma dibra kirute ve'amlich malte b'chayechon v'yamechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Bagala bagala uvizman kariv ve'imru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach.
Mevarach la'olam me'omaya yitbarach ve'yishtaba v'yitpar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei d'kudshah
Brichu.
leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nehemata damiram belma v'imru.
Amen. At this point, we rise for the Amidah for Shabbat evening. This is a time for private meditation. You can use the words from our tradition on the page, and if you're using this page, it's page 35b. And you can lean on the words of our tradition. They are strong. They will support you. If you want to pray in your own words, that's okay too, or add anything as your soul compels you. So we'll have some time for private meditation, and we'll get back together in just a few moments.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
And Chase is going to conclude this part of the service for us on page 48 for the Kaddish Shalem. Take it away, Chase.
Yikadavi Kadashme Rabba.
Amen.
Be'almadi Rakute Be'amlich Malchute Be'chayahonav Yomechon Hayad Hobe Israel. Bagalavis Makari Huvis Makari Ve'meru.
Amen.
Yehesh me Abba Mevorach.
Le'alam Le'ameo Maya Yitbarach. Yitbarach V'ishbavi Parveit Roman Veit Nase Vita Darvi Talavital Shemeda Kudisha.
Brichu.
Elam in Kol Berchata V'shirata Tush Berchata V'nehemata Damiram Be'alma Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Tit Kabal Sloton Avoton De Chol Yisrael Kodama V'hon Divishmaya Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Yehir Shlam Arab Amin Shemaya V'hayim Aleinu V'el Kol Yisrael V'el Kol Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imeru.
Amen.
Ose Shalom Ibrahim Se Shalom Aleinu V'el Kol Yisrael V'el Kol Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imeru.
Amen. Great
Amen.
job.
We'll keep our attention on the chapel as Chase's sister Grace is going to open the ark for Elenu on behalf of the family honoring Hannah and Alicia. So Grace is going to open it as the ark is open. Please rise. And we continue with the Elenu on page 51.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר את משהו. ועל כן נקווה לך אדוני אלוהינו לראות בניו תפארת עוזך. כי המלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי יד תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב את תורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
As the ark is closing, you may be seated. This is a time during our service where we remember those who are no longer with us. And in the coming week, we are going to be marking the Yahrzeit of Albert Levy, Andrew Frank Martirosian, Ann Surface, Arthur Philip Miller, Bruce Mark, Charles Hirsch, Dan Label, Dolores Schwamm, Dorothy Holland, Edmund Rohrman, Elizabeth Makel, Gertrude Tornick, Harold Goldberg, Harold Lichterman, Jerome Jules Weisman, John Hillelson, Julius Spielberg, Kurt Rosenthal, Lieb Sloan, Marcus Woolman, Margot Krimmert, Martin Rosenbaum, Maurice Melvin, Mildred Reff, Nathan Chasen, Philip Zabin, Phyllis Ledeen, Ralph Wolvick, Rebecca Scharf, Ruth Friedman, Shirley Tilley, Steve Allen, Thomas Schulman, and William Leonard Cohan. Our PJTC community also mourns the loss of our congregant, Gideon Shine. Gideon passed away this past Monday. I believe he will be laid to rest in a service with his family back east in New Jersey this Sunday in a private ceremony. However, stay tuned because there will be a memorial service for his family and friends to attend at a date to be determined in January. We pray that Gideon's memory be for a blessing. Hamakom Yenechem. May God comfort and strengthen his family and friends at this time. I'll ask that if you are observing a Yahrzeit or in mourning, you rise for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 52. And if you have someone whose name you'd like to lift up in honor and we didn't read them on the list, please hold their name in your heart or say their name out loud wherever you are. And if you're praying with us, please rise for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 52. Let's say it together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Ba'alma divra kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach leolam olamei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'ytalal shmei dekudsha brihu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. If you're standing, you may be seated. And we move from kavod, from heaviness and honor, to great joy, as once again we are celebrating our friend Chase becoming bar mitzvah. And if we're going to celebrate, there's going to be presents. And so and presentate, not just presents, but presentations. So I'd like to first call upon Bryce Weinberger, who's going to be presenting you with something. That's the little green book there, Mom, presenting you with something on behalf of the USY, our youth group.
Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov Chase. My name is Bryce Weinberger. I've been with PJTC for 6 years, and I'm currently one of the Madracha, or teacher's assistants, for his class. I'm speaking on behalf of USY tonight. Chase, I want to congratulate you and say you are doing amazing, and I cannot wait to hear more tomorrow. We may not know each other well, as it's been a little hard to get to know students virtually, but you've been a light in class. Even with having to get up early on the weekend, Chase comes to class with a smile, answers a question with interest, and is a great classmate and friend. From what I've read about Chase, he does well in studies, is in the Spanish program at Blair, and likes playing sports. Chase likes traveling, especially when it's visiting friends and family. I enjoy traveling as well. It's a nice break to get away from school and have an adventure. I understand Chase wanted to help endangered animals for his mitzvah project. I think that's an amazing trait, selfless and compassionate, to want to help animals in need. Keep it up. I also read that Chase likes going to sleepaway camp, which I have been to some, and I agree is one of the best things to experience in your youth. At sleepaway camp, you make new friends, eat new food, go on adventures, and sing and dance around the campfire and have fun. This ties into what I am here to present tonight, the Bechol Echad, on behalf of USY. This is a USY songbook that we use for regional and sometimes local youth group events. It includes many uplifting songs we use for Ruach, which is the crazy and hyper part of the moment. It also includes slower yet beautiful campfire melodies that we use for Sloach. I think you would enjoy both parts. So next time you go to sleepaway camp, this book can be an amazing experience if you use it. I hope to see you at a USY event soon. Mazel tov, Chase.
Yeshikoach. And now I'll call on Nancy Carlton for a presentation on behalf of PJTC's Sisterhood.
I was just waiting to be unmuted. Chase, your bar mitzvah is a time to reflect. Your bar mitzvah is a time to celebrate the wisdom you have gained. Your bar mitzvah is a time to look forward in strength, confidence, and pride. I trust the Kiddush Cup I am presenting on behalf of the PJTC Sisterhood, which is the box right there next to you, will be a reminder of your accomplishments and heritage. Enjoy this special occasion and be proud. Congratulations.
Yeshikoach, Nancy. And now to present to you a gift on behalf of the PJTC Men's Club, I now like to call upon the newest member of the PJTC Men's Club. Hold on, the name's right here. Rabbi John Carrier. Oh, wait, okay. So that's right, it's my turn tonight. I'm gonna present you with this gift, and your mother should have something in the area that looks like a little hand on a stick. That is a yad, and yad is Hebrew for hand. This is a special Jewish ritual object that is appropriate for all scholars of Torah. And one of the things that you've been working on so hard, Chase, is learning how to not just read the Torah for your own enjoyment and education and edification and understanding, but also teach Torah to others and share words of Torah. In fact, literally share words from the Torah in Hebrew, which you are going to be doing for everybody tomorrow. Don't worry, you practice, it's going to be cool. But what we do is we don't touch the Torah with our fingers directly. Not because we can give it cooties or anything, but because it would rub the letters off. And every Jew should have access to the Torah. Every Jew should seize on the learning, but we use the yad to help preserve the scroll itself so that it can be used for many generations to come. It is our honor as the Men's Club to pass on to you the responsibility for preserving Torah throughout the generations. And to symbolize this, we give you this yad, which will be yours to use as you are reading from the Torah tomorrow. As one of the world's newest Jewish men, it is our honor to welcome you to the Men's Club. Yasher Koach on everything you've done tonight and everything you're going to do tomorrow. And with that, I will stop being a Men's Club representative and start being a rabbi again. And I would like to present you with a certificate on behalf of our religious school and committee. And so I think if we want to take the camera back to the chapel so we can hold up the certificate. It is suitable for framing, and we have proof because we have framed it. And this is a certificate. You can hang this on your wall at home. You can hang it on your wall as you go off to college, in your office as a music producer, or cardiologist or whatever you do throughout your life, you will have a representation there of this moment where you have worked so hard and have demonstrated such poise and such strength and such grace. And I would like to, on behalf of the Religious School Committee, read some words that Rabbi Amy shared with me to pass along to you. So now I'm going to go from Men's Club to Rabbi Carrier. Now I'm Rabbi Amy. Chase, Mazel Tov on becoming a bar mitzvah today. You might not know this yet, but Jews have never really been known for their optimism. We've had to fight, survive, fight to survive. You get the point. So it would have made perfect sense had you chosen to teach us all about Joseph's survival of his brother's betrayal, survival as a slave, or survival of his imprisonment. It would have also made sense for you to teach us about Joseph testing his brothers. Instead, Chase, you are going to be teaching us the potential that we all have to find the good in all things. As you grow into an adult in this community and beyond, my hope for you is that you are always able to hold on to what you will teach us this Shabbat, that instead of focusing on how challenging things are, we can and should use our energy to refocus on what we can learn from a situation and how we can spread that positivity to others. Mazel Tov. That is from Rabbi Amy Gerasi, our Director of Education and the principal of our LBSRS Religious School. So with that, I'm going to make a few brief but meaningful announcements on behalf of the congregation. There's usually a lot of fun stuff going on here. We just did a lot of fun stuff for Hanukkah, so you'll see we're taking it a little bit easier this week. But we always have our Shabbat meditation group, or we have a meditation groups that go throughout the week. We have one on Tuesday at 8:45. We have one on Wednesday at 8 a.m. We have a Shabbat meditation group, usually Saturdays, about 12:45. Let's see, this Sunday, you should know that there is no Hebrew school. We're on break until January. Sorry about that, kids. So we have no social hall this week also. We usually have a social hall meeting on Tuesdays. Not this week. We're taking a little break from that. On Thursday, there will be the Exploring Your Life Through Torah class at 10 a.m. And you should know, just for convenience sake, that our offices are closing at noon on Thursday and all day on Friday in honor of the federal holiday. So let's see. Very important, next Sunday, the Social Justice Committee is meeting at 10 a.m. And for these and all the other wonderful things that are happening all the time in this community, please check your emails. We tell everybody about them. You just have to open your email, and that will also have all these Zoom links so that you could join us there and we can hear your voice and see your beautiful face. One last thing I want to make sure you know about is I mentioned this last week that we would be beginning a end of year focus on tzedakah, let's say. I told the president, Jeff Dabowski, I wouldn't ask for money on Shabbat, but I would teach about the value of being generous through tzedakah. And I said that was going to happen, and it did. And people were so inspired by the wonderful matching campaign that we've got going by some generous donors have stepped up, pledged matching funds, and the $6,340 that have been donated so far have been matched and then some with almost $9,000 additional dollars. And we are climbing up this ladder. You can see we're rapidly progressing toward our goal. If you haven't taken advantage of this yet, there's still plenty of time. There's still some matching funds left. So as you're considering your tzedakah, your generosity, your increasing justice in the world through your contributions at the end of the year, please consider PJTC and know that every dollar you donate becomes $2 or $3 towards our future together. So thank you very much, everybody who's donated, and bless you to everybody who's considering donating. So with that, we're going to wrap up this service. Let's see, did I forget anything, Cantor Ruth? I hope not. So we're going to end as we began. This is a singing community, so we are, of course, going to end in song. And if you want to sing along with us, even if we can't hear you, we can tell, we can see your lips moving, we can feel your presence. So please sing with us as we close our service. It sounds better if you stand up while we're singing, and then stick around for Kiddush after the service.
Let's join together. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Together. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbos. All right, Yashikov, Chase, everybody stick around if you like. We're going to do some, we're going to make some kiddush together. So grab your wine, grab your juice, a celebratory beverage of your choice.
I'm going to ask there in the Nell Chapel to please go and grab your kiddush cups and your challah and the rest of the stuff. And get ready. Let's see. Let's point. Let's go to the Nell Chapel, yeah, so we can see everyone. You can unwrap the kiddush cup and Chase, that's yours. So we're going to hold it together. I will start the blessing in the weekend. Well, not yet. Let's first. Yeah, I mean, I know it's juice, and don't get too excited. It's not
He's
like
just trying to
it's
see if
like,
it's wine.
wow. But, you know. So for those of you who are ready and you grabbed your schnapps, we'll join together. ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. We lift it up. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו. ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים. See, Chase is just juice, but it's good juice.
All right, we'll have a little hand washing before the challah. Those who wish to wash as you wish, or I could just wash right here and I'll have everybody in mind. How about that? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. And back to the Nell Chapel, I understand there's a very special challah that a member of their family baked. Is that correct?
Yes, it's from his cousin Maxie.
Wonderful. So I'm going to ask you to lift that up really high. You guys can lift it together. And let's join together. Go for it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
Hamotzi
motzi lecha min haaretz.
B'teavon. Take a
Amen.
piece. Cut it up.
You've done so good, you get to eat now.
Here, let's break it here.
Yasher Koach, Chase, Mazel Tov to your family, and thank you everyone for joining us at PJTC.
We
think
will
we're
send
going to-
you